afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this month's episode of Northern Lights. And this month we have something really special lined up for you. Understanding that Veterans Day is in November, there's really no bad time to recognize veterans. And we have three awesome organizations lined up for you today. We have Wake County Veterans Services and Mr. Dougy Johnson. We have Ms. Brooke Dickhart, who has started the Joel Foundation, which is a really cool organization here in Wake Forest. And then we were pleased to have Commander Douglas Boyd with us as well, representing Chapter 1 of the Disabled American Veterans here in Wake County. So thank you all. Before we get to our presentation, just like we like to do every month, we like to sort of explain what Northern Lights is and what our intent is with this. We're so delighted that you chose to join us today, and I'm equally delighted, as always, to be here with Miss Betty Burchison, who is the chair of the Wake County Northern Regional Center Community Advocacy Committee. And this is really her idea. And what this is all about is coming up with topics, and every month we have a different topic that are of interest to the community, and making sure people are getting good information directly from the source, and then also giving people a pathway to be able to connect with these folks if they're in need of services or if they know of somebody that is in need of services. So this is a live event now, and I want to recognize Rachel Morris, who is the director of the Roseville Chamber. She is allowing us to use her software. She is also backstage making this all look good. Also, M. Anderson is back there as well, and hopefully we'll allow them to come on screen here towards the end. But what is the Community Advocacy Committee? Well, it's these folks that are on screen right now, and they're a group of volunteers, but they're all local leaders, and they're the ones that work directly with Wake County up here in the north to make sure that we're doing things that the community really is interested in working on, and that we're not out of step with what the needs are. So they're the ones that hold us accountable, really, more than anything. And Betty, I will tell you, and I'm biased, but I think it's common knowledge, is the strongest advocate and strongest chair of any of the community advocacy groups here in Wake County. So Northern Lights is really sort of her idea to bring forward these topics in this new medium. So I'd like to turn it over to her so she can explain a little bit more about what led us to this point.
Thank you, Ross. I wish I could take you with me everywhere I go. That's a beautiful introduction, and I appreciate your sentiments. Ross is a joy to work with, and I consider it a privilege to work with him and other members of the Northern Regional Center's Community Advocacy Committee. These are committed public servants who want to make sure that we are making life better for people in the Northern region of Wake County, as well as all of Wake County. And so this year, as we began our year, Ross and I thought it would be great to have a theme for the year. So our theme for this year is health and healing. And coming through the pandemic in 2020, I think all of us are in need of health and healing. So we have committed ourselves to 4 pillars. These various aspects of community living that we're committing to. We are looking at race relations. We want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to be a beacon of light in the community. We know that there is still racism in our country, and that the racism has led to health disparities. All of the reporting agencies reporting about the pandemic talked about the racial disparities for Black and Brown people. So we're addressing those issues. We're also expanding partnerships. We want to look at other nonprofits in the community who are doing good work that we can refer clients to. The county can't accomplish everything, but we certainly can partner with those who are trying to fill in gaps. And there are 2 partners that are here at the table today that will tell you more about what their organizations offer and how you can make referrals to them. Also, this is part of our education and outreach focus, Northern Lights, Living in Good Health Together, which is the title that Ross came up with. And I think it's wonderful because we think about Northern Lights and the phenomena. It's a phenomenon. It shouldn't be a phenomenon. It should be an everyday occurrence that we are trying to live in good health together always. So we have brought together this panel today to look at how we can expand resources for the veterans in our community. When I think about veterans, I think about, we just celebrated the 4th of July, which is the month we celebrate our country's liberation from Great Britain. And one of my favorite songs is My Country 'Tis of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty, of Thee I Sing. So today we want to continue to honor those who continue the legacy of freedom by discussing the resources and opportunities for us to serve those who have served us and our country so well. Thank you for tuning in.
All right. Well, thank you, Betty. Oh, it cannot be said any better than that. So thank you again. So before we start our presentations, and we're going to start with Mr. Dougie Johnson, just let you know that we want you to ask questions. So whether you're watching on Facebook or the Rollsville Chambers YouTube channel, please don't be afraid to use the chat and let us know if you have questions. Rachel and Em behind backstage, so to speak, are looking at those, and we'll make sure that those questions are addressed. And we want this to be interactive. I mean, folks say this all the time, but please, it just makes for a much more robust and enriched conversation. So first up, we have Mr. Dougie Johnson, who is with Veterans Services here in Wake County. And I'm happy to say I've known Dougie for it's at least a decade, 10 years. So I'm telling our ages there, Dougie. But so y'all are getting a little sneak peek. He's about ready to give this presentation to the Wake County Commissioners tomorrow, but you're seeing it first here. So please sit back and enjoy and hear about all the wonderful things that Wake County Veterans Services has to offer for us. So Dougie.
I am unmuted. Okay, thank you, Ross, and good afternoon, everyone. I am Dougie Johnson, the manager of Wake County Veteran Services, and I'm going to provide a brief overview of our program and of our local veterans community. Next slide, please. County Veteran Services offices operate in a complex regulatory environment with multiple levels of accountability. Federal, state, county governments all play a role in its daily operations. The VA, of course, is the federal cabinet agency who has final adjudicative authority on all VA matters, to include VA disability, healthcare, and education benefits. It has regional offices all throughout the country, and Winston-Salem is the home of the regional office here in North Carolina. Each state has an agency dedicated for veterans advocacy. So the North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs has 16 service centers throughout the state. The North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs State Service Office is located at the Winston-Salem VA Regional Office, which coordinates with county veteran services offices throughout North Carolina to better assist veterans. North Carolina has been carved into 5 districts, and our office falls under District 5. The North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs has a state service center in Garner, which delivers similar services to our office. Next slide, please. As of 2019, Wake County is the home to almost 50,000 veterans, the most veterans populous county in North Carolina. But why? I think vets love this area for the same reason many of us have migrated to this area. Wake County has a decent economy with many education and employment opportunities. It has amenable tax sensibilities, reasonable weather patterns, and is close to North Carolina's mountains and beaches. In a nutshell, our office serves approximately 1,800 qualified veterans and their families annually in obtaining the most appropriate federal, state, and local veterans benefit. Through our consultations, we provide information so veterans have options. Our customer satisfaction rate has consistently been in the high 90% range because our veterans have an advocate who is knowledgeable, accessible, and friendly, as ours is an office of veterans serving veterans. Andre Jones and Sonia Bridges are Army veterans. Andre has 20 years of VSO experience, and Sonia has been with our office since 2008. Keisha Nealon is the surviving spouse of an Army veteran and has 13 years of VSO experience. I served in the Marines from 1990 to 1996, and I have 15 years of experience doing this work. So cumulatively, we have approximately 50 years of experience for our customers to leverage. Next slide, please. Our office was established in 1981 and has moved around both organizationally and physically. We've moved physically a few times since I was hired in 2006. Our office is currently located at 4401 Bland Road as of February. Prior to COVID-19, we delivered services to the Northern Regional Center on the second Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of each month, and the Southern Regional Center down in Fuquay-Varina on the fourth Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of each month. Next slide, please. As you can see, this fiscal year's in-office appointments aren't that different from last year's, which was our busiest year ever. During the pandemic, we served veterans remotely from home. We were working out of the office on a rotational basis from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In spite of serving close to 2,000 vets last year, our office was challenged logistically. I was tasked with managing the COVID testing site from April to August of last year, and Sonia, our office assistant, working the EOC from August to March of this year. Even though last year was crazy with COVID-19, we were still able to serve as many veterans as we did last year. We look forward to this number to continue to trend upward this fiscal year as we resume our normal office hours. We will continue to work with vets in our office or remotely, whichever is most convenient for them. Next slide. To the left are the federal benefits offered by the VA, and we wanted to kind of compare our agency with Mecklenburg and Cumberland counties because their veterans populations are similar to ours, and the North Carolina Department of Veterans Affairs Garner Service Center because they're in the Wake County area, and I wanted to show that we all work with vets. Next slide. Here are the state veterans benefits showing all four entities provide the same services. Next slide. This is the only slide where the same services aren't delivered. All three counties offer services where a veteran can register important military documents like their separation papers, DD-214s, and each office conducts stand-downs to serve homeless veterans and Veterans Experience Action Centers, also known as VACs, where the VA comes to our local communities to offer services. Wake and Mecklenburg have homeless shelters, which delivers services to homeless veterans. And Mecklenburg has an on-the-job training program to facilitate veterans with experience in the construction trade to work in this county's code enforcement program, of course, depending on job availability. Cumberland and Wake have a roundtable where women veterans can discuss issues and share resources. Here's a chart showing Wake and Mecklenburg having similar numbers in terms of VA compensation claims. Wake compensation benefits are paid, VA compensation benefits are paid to VA veteran based on the total body functionality perspective. The disability scale ranges from 0% to 100% based on severity. Cumberland has more than twice the number of Wake VA claims, primarily because of the number of vets who served in both Gulf Wars. And Gulf War vets are currently the largest group of veterans. I think Cumberland's numbers are so large because many soldiers decide to stay in the area after having served at Fort Bragg as their last duty station and just kind of stayed in the area. And some vets filed their claims just before their discharge or while still serving on active duty and just decided to stay in the Cumberland County after discharge. On the next slide, you'll see how much more VA money is expended in Cumberland than Wake or Mecklenburg. The reason for that is that veterans in Cumberland County filed twice as many claims as Wake vets. Also, while there are over 5,000 Wake veterans rated between 70 and 100%, there are almost 15,000 Cumberland County vets, almost 3 times within that range. Next slide, please. Here you can see the VA dispersed more than $515 million to Wake veterans, $25 million more than Mecklenburg. Cumberland received over $1 billion, about 2 times the amount Wake got. The total expenditures include funds received by veterans for compensation and pension benefits, educational vocational rehabilitation / employment services, home loan guarantees, insurance and indemnity claims, and medical care.
Douggy, we're going to have to wrap your session up. I'm sorry. We want to make sure we give the other presenters opportunity to get theirs in. And so we appreciate all of the information you have provided. And I don't think there are any questions in the queue, are there? There may be. Oh, how is
we
this?
do have a question.
How is this information and the office's services getting out to the veterans and their caregivers? What is being done to help the homeless veteran? Can you briefly speak to that, please, Douggy?
Sure. As far as the homeless veterans are concerned, Human Services has a full-time accredited veteran services officer that works in the South Wilmington Street Shelter. And that individual, David Pafoni, kind of facilitates anything that the homeless veterans are going to need. I missed the second part of the question. I don't see it on the screen anymore.
What's being done to help the homeless veterans? I think you answered that. What information?
And how's information getting out? I'm working on that. We're working on a very ambitious outreach campaign. We currently have a veterans task force, which has been comprised of the county commissioners and other key players in the veterans community. And that's the presentation I'm giving tomorrow. And so by the end of the year, we're going to have some action items. I expect outreach to be amongst that. And then so we're going to move forward with outreach at that point.
Okay, thank you, Douggy, and thank you, Ms. Wiggins, for the question. If there are other questions, we will bring you all back at the end and you'll have opportunity to answer those. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Douggy. And we can put your full presentation up on our Facebook page later for folks that want to continue to read for themselves. All right. And now we have, with the Joel Fund, the executive director. Did I get that right, Brooke?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And she's actually the founder of the Joel Fund. She'll, I'm sure, tell her story about what inspired her to start this organization that's really all about connecting veterans back to their community after they've returned from service. They do so many wonderful things, but who better to explain everything that they do than the person that made it all possible herself. So, Brooke, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to give a quick thank you to Ross and Betty for the work that they are doing here and the opportunity and for giving us this platform to talk to you about veteran services. If you could start to the next slide, that would be great. So as Ross mentioned, I started the Joel Fund. It's a very personal reason. My dad was in the Navy for 20 years and he did 4 tours in Vietnam and he suffered from PTSD, substance abuse, and depression. So I started this to help veterans and their families to not go through experiences like we went through. Next slide, please. So our mission is to reconnect veterans to life at home. We use the power of community to engage, educate, and encourage veterans and their families. So we do a lot of partnership with other organizations. We advocate for the importance of non-traditional services for veterans, and then we also provide a direct connection to those services. One of our big programs is Operation Art. These are art classes for veterans and their immediate family members. Everything that we do is in honor of my dad, and art was something that my dad used when he was working through his issues. It was very therapeutic for him. And so we offer art classes for veterans and their immediate family members in our Wake Forest location. We have a studio where we can do drawing and painting. We also have a partnership with the Makerspace in Raleigh for the woodworking classes. But then with the pandemic, what we like to consider our silver lining story, we started offering online Zoom classes, and we currently run photography and writing classes. And these, this has given us the opportunity to expand our program to reach veterans in other parts of the United States. And we try to do these classes with no barriers. So the classes are once a week for 6 weeks. That's an average. And it costs the students $25. And we do offer scholarships. So with drawing and painting, we have supplies for the students. If it's a virtual class, we can mail them supplies. So we actually have classes starting up in August. So information for the classes can be found on our website. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to share this picture. I think this picture is a lot of fun. We try to create a sense of community with all of our programs. And this is a picture of one of our writing classes that we were doing through Zoom. Next slide. So the Resource Connection is another program that is a large part of what we do. I had always wished that we had been able to have a way to learn about services for my dad. And so we work one-on-one with veterans and their families to connect them with the services they are seeking. It involves building trust through communication and understanding. We've been a part of the NC Serves network for over 4 years. We have a great relationship with the local VA, and we work with all the other veteran organizations across our region. We recently partnered with Veterans Bridge Home to lead the Triangle region of NC Serves. And this has just allowed us to take this work that we are so passionate about to the next level. And part of those resource connections are we have veterans coffee events. So these events were in person when we were pre-COVID, and now we do the monthly virtual on Zoom. Like we had one this morning, actually. We had 35 people in attendance, and actually from across the state. And we just started doing them again in person last month, and we'll be having another one in person in Wake Forest coming up in October. We always have breakfast and coffee, and it's just a great way to learn about services that are available, and it allows you to share experiences. We have found that that type of setting, it's non-threatening, it's very relaxed, and it allows people to really learn about what's going on. Next slide, please. So 2 other programs that I just wanted to mention real quick. Operation Wellness is something new. So we do have online yoga classes for veterans. And then we received a grant earlier this year to deliver produce boxes for veterans in need. Food insecurity is a hot topic right now, and with COVID and people losing jobs, it's a necessary service. And we were fortunate enough to get this funding. So if you know of a veteran in need of some food, we do send out these produce boxes every other week. Please reach out. The information again is on our website. And then Operation Furnish is another program where we collect and deliver household items for veterans in need. So the biggest needs that we find are family room furniture and bedroom furniture. We do work very close with the VA, HUD-VASH social workers and other organizations. Definitely, we work a lot with Douggy's office, with the VSOs, with veterans who need services for this type of thing, and Volunteers of America. A lot of our veterans are coming out of homelessness and need furniture, and we're able to help them furnish their new place of residence. So here's my contact information. All of this can also be found on our website at thejoelfund.org. And please feel free to email or call if you have any questions. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Cool, awesome, and nice job, Brooke, and thank you for
Yes.
everything that you've done. It's really, and I would encourage you, even if you don't have a veteran or know of a veteran, just go look at what Brooke has done. I mean, it's really inspiring, and my hat is off to you. We have a comment here from Dot. Oh, this art therapy component is so impressive. Yeah, it all is, isn't it, Dot? So it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We actually do the veterans coffees at our space in Wake Forest. We have a art studio space, and then we have a small office space that we do our coffee events in. It's on South White Street in Wake Forest.
Brooke, you're just amazing, and I know your father must be proud. Tell us if there's any costs for any of your services, if anybody wanted to.
Sure. All of our services, other than the art classes, our services are free. We tried to do I believe in transparency. So we tried to do the art classes for free, but people would sign up and no one would show up. But we found that $25 is a perfect number for people to commit. And again, we do offer scholarships for that if it's a need. So they just have to reach out to me and we can get them connected to that.
That's amazing. What about furniture donations? Can people call you if they have, a household full of furniture? Or are there specific items you'd like to have, or how does that work?
So we do ask people to fill out the form on our website. That allows us to get pictures and to get specifics on the furniture. We've been doing the furniture now, this program, for a couple of years. We made it official just this past December, but we've been doing it for a while. We have learned that there are very specific needs, and we do outline all of those details on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Brooke.
Yes.
And nice job. And our final presenter is Commander Douglas Boyd, who was with us. Here he is. Hello, Commander. How are you? I think you're still on mute, Commander. And we're just delighted to have Commander Boyd with us because, you think about veterans and you think about the sacrifices they make, and his organization is working specifically with those veterans that have paid a very heavy price for their service. And so we're delighted again to have Commander Boyd with us. You'll hear about some of the great services they provide, but just as importantly, you're going to hear about ways that you can get involved and give back to this organization so they can provide for the military that has given so much. So without any further ado, Commander Boyd, I'd like to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. And thanks to you and Betty for the opportunity. Again, I'm Douglas M. Boyd. I'm the commander of Chapter 1 Disabled American Veterans here in Wake County. What do we do? Our mission is simple. We empower veterans to live a high quality life with dignity and respect. Now, more details is that we provide free professional services for veterans and their families in obtaining the benefits that they so well deserve. Now, what does that really mean? We sit down with veterans and we help them file their claims of service-connected disabilities, whether they are mental or physical. Now, how do we do that? The execution process is that we have qualified chapter service officers that have been trained and they have been certified to go through the numerous forms and et cetera to be able to walk veterans through the filing process. How many do we see or serve? The numbers are amazing. We average over 200 veterans per month prior to the pandemic and also during the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, we did face-to-face. We were open 3 days a week at our location. After the pandemic, we did it all via telephone. But our services continued, and thanks to those qualified volunteer service officers that take the necessary time to be able to help veterans to get the benefits that they so well deserve. The other things that we do, we got an outreach program. Outreach, we have veterans in the local long-term care facilities and things like, and facilities like that. We set up programs. We go and have little veterans programs there where we provide food, information. In some cases, we do gifts like hats and things like that for each service, i.e. a hat for Army or Navy or Air Force or whatever. We also go to the VA hospital in Durham. We set up things like little bingo games, ice cream socials, and things like that for those veterans that are in that hospital, to give them something other to do than just to be in their rooms. And the other thing that we do as far as outreach is concerned is during the Christmas holidays, those families and et cetera that are in need, we provide boxes of food for those families so we can help them through the Christmas holidays. And prior to the pandemic, we also did toys and et cetera for their kids and grandkids. One other critical and important thing that we do is something called emergency relief. We budget funds for veterans that need money for utilities and things like that. Obviously, we have standard operating procedures. We got a certain amount that we budget for annual year, and we got a certain amount that is allocated to each veteran that meets the criteria. If the request is higher than what the standard operation procedures state, then we got a process in place where we can make an exception to policy in those specific cases. We are located at 1700 Hodge Road, Knightdale, North Carolina. The telephone number is 919-217-8710. Our planned reopening is currently on the 23rd of August. We will operate at the beginning 2 days a week, Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can call the number I just gave you. You can make appointments and et cetera, and service officers will be there to assist you. And lastly, we are looking for lifetime members of the DAV. So you're welcome to join, and you can call the number I just gave you and leave your information. And we have a dedicated elected official that will assist you in becoming a lifetime member of the DAV. So thanks for the opportunity. True appreciate it. If there's any questions, we'll address them at this time.
All right. Do we have any questions? Good job, Commander Boyd.
Great job.
Thank you.
Pull over the comments section, and I don't know that we have.
While you're looking for that, I have a couple.
Okay.
I wondered, how do you have to be a disabled American veteran to join the DAV? That might be a stupid question.
No, I was thinking the same thing, Betty. So thank you for asking.
Hey, absolutely not. Any veteran can join join our organization.
Wonderful, wonderful. And are there any services you provide for families of disabled vets? That was a question I got from a friend. I meant to ask each one about that.
Yes, there are certain services that are outlined that we can provide for family members, widows, and et cetera. And they're outlined whereby they can come out and again sit down with a chapter service officer, and whatever the issue or the question or concern, we have the regulations, et cetera, there to be able to provide them assistance in most cases. In some cases, we just can't do it.
I see. How can those of us who are not veterans, how can we best support the work you all are doing? Sounds like you're doing some amazing work across the county.
Hey, that was one of my points that I forgot. Thank you for asking that question, Betty. We are a nonprofit, and we work solely to support veterans via donations. You will see us at Golden Corral. You will see us at the Sam's Club with buckets. If you can see my hat, everybody will have a hat or a jacket or something on that will identify them as a disabled American veteran. So we encourage and ask you to donate when you see veterans out there, because as you have heard during this presentation, it is definitely a worthy cause. And we would like to just, since uh, you mentioned Roseville. Roseville is one of the municipalities in the county that has provided us a grant whereby we supported different programs within the city of Roseville based on that grant. So the best way that you can help us is to provide donations so we can continue to execute our mission, i.e. help veterans, provide emergency relief funds for those that are in need, to prevent the cutoff of utilities and etc. And if you got any other items that you can provide, we have people to stop by the chapter when it's open. Just walk in and leave a case of Coke, water, and etc. So anything that you can do to support the chapter service officers is duly appreciated.
I have it on pretty good authority that you also have a van that you also use sometimes to transport people to appointments and things like that. I'm sure that during COVID, you probably weren't able to do that, but is that one of the other services you provide?
Absolutely. We got a dedicated van with a driver that will carry veterans from Wake County, the Raleigh area, to Durham, VA for their appointments and return them back to Wake County, their homes.
Wow. So many things. That's great. That is great.
Yeah, thank you again so much, Commander Boyd. And so, and just think about it next time you see veterans, like you said, with the hat or the jacket on with the buckets, and just think about how how a donation can really help out people that have sacrificed so much for our country and for the freedoms that we all enjoy. Okay, so can we bring all the presenters back on screen one more time so we can recognize them, because they all did an awesome job. There's Douggy, Commander Boyd, and Brooke, and thank you all so much. I don't know that we have. There is one comment. Okay, that was back from Dot. Just recognizing the great service to transport people from the disabled veterans, your van service to get people to Durham and back. So. Yeah, sorry about that, Dot. I just read it because I saw the comment. But no questions, and that's usually a good sign that you provided good, thorough information for folks. So thank you again for your time today. And just know that you'll continue to get calls from the public as we intend on keeping this stuff live, or not live, but on our Facebook page for indefinitely. So great. Okay, so next month, and like I said, every month we have a different topic. We're going to focus, at least the plan is, on affordable housing and homelessness here in Wake County. And we typically have been doing this the last Wednesday of the month. So by my math, that puts us on Wednesday the 25th. And then after that, in September, we're slated to have a conversation about race relations and racism. And then we were going to probably go ahead and slate out the rest of the calendar year. So I hope you'll find this information useful today, and I hope you'll join us as we move forward on this every month. And don't be afraid to share this information in your circle and with those that you think could benefit from this. And to close this out, and the best person ever in the history of time, close out anything, is Betty Mertensen. So I'd like to turn it over to her.
Thank you. Thank you, Ross. And I want to echo all the wonderful things you said about our presenters today, Mr. Dougie Johnson, Mr. Douglas Boyd, and Miss Brooke Dickhart. You guys are doing the work in the community to serve people that we often only think about once a year or twice a year at different times. So I thank you all for your service. And I want to ask our viewing public to please give us feedback. Tell us how we can support community needs. We want to collaborate with more of our community partnerships and nonprofits so that we can create a Wake Forest that is thriving, not just for some, but for all of us. I want to recognize our backstage production crew who are doing an amazing job as always, and SM and Rachel, if you'll come out from backstage and take a bow, we'd love to see your beautiful faces. And yeah, there they are. They're second
Rachel's actually
coming.
on the road. Rachel's out of her office and on the road.
Oh, wow. She still made time for us. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Em, for all of the work that goes on behind the scenes. And as we close out, I wanted to honor our military service people by repeating part of the oath that all of you took who wore the uniform, regardless of what branch of service you were in. It's called the Oath of Enlistment for Military Service. And it goes in part, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And it goes on, and I know you can repeat it word for word. Well, I think it's time that we pledged an oath to you all, to the people who served. We owe you a debt of service we cannot repay, but we can at the very least recognize you and offer to do whatever we can to support your families. So with that said, thank you all. We look forward to seeing everyone back here next month as we continue this journey. Thank you, Ross.
All right. Thank you, Betty. And just as I said, perfect close to a really great show. So thank you all so much, and be sure to join us next month. We'll see you later.